Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be tackling something that, well, it sounds pretty complex, but it's increasingly relevant to all of us.
It is.
Prompt engineering for generative AI.
Yeah.
You've probably heard a lot of buzz about AI lately, and for good reason. It's changing the game for how we create and learn and work.
Absolutely. And knowing how to communicate effectively with AI, especially, large language models or LLMs, is becoming, well, a pretty sought-after skill. Think of it as learning to speak the language of these powerful systems.
So we're not talking about like learning to code,
No,
but rather learning to craft the right kind of instructions for these AI models.
exactly. It's about understanding what makes an effective prompt, what kind of language, structure, context will guide the AI to produce the output that you want.
Okay.
And you might be surprised to learn that plain English can often be, well, quite effective.
Okay, that's intriguing. But before we dive into the specifics of prompting, can you give us a quick rundown of how these LLMs actually work? What's going on under the hood?
In essence, an LLM is trained on an immense amount of data, enabling it to predict the next word in a sequence based on the patterns it's observed.
Okay.
So imagine you're writing an email, and the AI is constantly suggesting the next word, like an incredibly sophisticated autocomplete. But instead of just completing sentences, it can generate entire paragraphs, stories, even code.
So it's all about pattern recognition on a massive scale, but not necessarily thinking the way humans do.
Precisely. And that's why prompting is so crucial. We need to provide the AI with clear instructions and context to guide its output.
Okay.
Think of it as setting up the parameters for a search engine. You wouldn't just type in a random word and expect relevant results. You'd refine your search with specific keywords and filters.
Right.
Prompting is similar. It's about refining your request to get the AI to generate the output that you need.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So prompting is the key to unlocking the potential of these LLMs, to make them work for us.
Yeah,
But can you give us some specific examples of how this plays out in practice?
absolutely. One basic but powerful technique is called few-shot prompting. Imagine you want the AI to write a product description, but in a specific style. You can provide it with a few examples of existing descriptions that fit that style, and the AI will, well, learn from those examples and try to emulate them. It's like showing a student a few model essays before asking them to write their own.
I see. So it's about guiding the AI by example, showing it the kind of output we're aiming for.
Exactly.
But what if we need the AI to perform more complex tasks, like solving a problem or reasoning through a situation?
That's where chain of thought prompting comes in. It's a fascinating technique where we encourage the AI to break down its reasoning process step by step, like showing its work on a math problem.
Okay.
This not only helps us understand how the AI arrived at its conclusion, but it also often leads to more accurate results, especially for tasks involving logic or reasoning.
That's incredible. So we're not just getting an answer, we're getting a glimpse into the AI's thought process. But with all this talk about prompting, is there ever a time when we need to go beyond simply giving instructions?
You're thinking like a true prompt engineer.
Oh.
And the answer is yes. There are times when we need to fine-tune the AI's behavior to meet specific needs. That's where techniques like tuning come in, which we'll delve into later. But before we jump ahead, there's one more crucial aspect of basic prompting we should cover, the concept of temperature.
Temperature. Does the AI get overheated if we ask it too many questions?
No, not quite. Temperature in this context is a parameter that controls the creativity and randomness of the AI's responses.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. How does this temperature setting work in practice?
Imagine you're asking the AI to complete the sentence. The dog chased the dog. If we set the temperature to 0, which is the lowest setting, it will always choose the most statistically likely next word based on its training data, probably something like ball or cat.
Makes sense. So lower temperature means more predictable, safe responses. But what if we want to encourage the AI to think outside the box?
That's where we can turn up the heat. As we increase the temperature towards 1, the AI starts considering less probable options, leading to more creative and unexpected outputs. At a higher temperature, it might say moon, rainbow, or even philosophical debate after the dog chased the...
Wow, that's fascinating. So by adjusting the temperature, we can influence the AI's creative process, make it more playful or more focused depending on our needs. But how do we decide which temperature is right for a given task? Is there, like, a rule of thumb?
That's a great question. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, as the ideal temperature will depend on the specific task, the desired level of creativity, and even the personality you want to imbue in the AI's output.
So it's all about experimentation. finding the right balance between predictability and creative flair. Sounds like there's a real art to this prompt engineering thing.
Absolutely. It's a blend of technical understanding and creative intuition. And the more you experiment with different prompts and parameters, the better you'll become at guiding the AI to produce truly remarkable results.
This is already blowing my mind. We've gone from basic LLM function to adjusting temperature for creativity. I can't wait to see what other mind-blowing techniques are in store for us.
Well, buckle up, because next we're diving into some advanced prompting techniques that will give you even more control over these powerful AI systems. We'll explore concepts like retrieval augmented generation and even touch upon the fascinating world of AI tuning. Stay tuned.
Okay, we've established that prompting is like having this secret decoder ring for communicating with AI.
Right.
But I'm ready to go deeper.
Okay.
What are some of those advanced techniques you hinted at?
One that's truly revolutionizing how we use LLMs is called retrieval augmented generation, or RE for short.
Arguing. Huh. Sounds more like something you'd use to clean up a spilled coffee.
Maybe. But in the world of AI, RAG is all about making LLMs even smarter by grounding their responses in specific data sources. So instead of relying solely on the AI's vast but general knowledge, we can provide it with targeted information, documents, databases, even internal company knowledge bases.
So instead of letting the AI loose in the wilds of the internet, we're giving it a curated library.
Yeah.
Like a personalized research assistant.
Precisely. Let's say you're building a chatbot for customer support on a specific product line.
Okay.
With RAG, you could feed the LLM all the technical documentation, FAQs, and even past customer interactions related to that product.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
That chatbot would be able to answer questions with laser focus and accuracy because its knowledge is tailored to that specific product.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be making broad generalizations based on whatever it might have stumbled upon in its training data.
Right. And RAG is also incredibly powerful for internal knowledge bases within companies. Imagine being able to ask an AI a question about company procedures and having it pull the answer directly from the relevant internal documents.
Okay, RAG is officially on my must-explore list. It feels like we're taking this concept of guiding the AI's knowledge to a whole new level. But I'm also curious about that word you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Tuning. It sounded like taking AI education even further.
You're right. While prompting is about crafting effective instructions, tuning is about refining the AI's underlying behavior, making it more specialized to your specific needs. It's like taking a talented athlete and giving them a coach to help them hone their skills for a particular sport.
So if prompting is teaching the AI, the basics tuning is about helping it become a master in a specific domain.
Exactly. There are various tuning methods, each with its own strengths and use cases.
Yeah.
Let's start with one of the most common, supervised fine-tuning. Think of it as providing the AI with a set of flashcards. On one side, you have an input, and on the other side, the desired output.
So we're training the AI by showing it examples of the kind of responses we want. Kind of like how we teach kids by showing them flashcards with pictures and words.
Precisely. By feeding the AI this labeled data, we're guiding its learning process, making it more likely to produce outputs that align with our goals.
Got it. So if we wanted an AI that could write marketing copy in a specific brand voice, we could feed it examples of that brand's existing marketing materials, and it would learn to emulate that style.
Exactly. That's one powerful application of supervised fine-tuning. But there's another fascinating technique called reinforcement learning.
Okay.
Here, instead of flashcards, we use a system of rewards and penalties to shape the AI's behavior.
Okay, I'm picturing this AI playing a video game where it gets points for generating good outputs and loses points for bad ones.
Yeah.
Is that kind of on the right track?
It's not that far off. In essence, we define a set of criteria for what constitutes a good output, and the AI learns through trial and error, striving to maximize its rewards over time.
That's really interesting. So it's like training a dog with treats and praise, but instead of teaching it to sit or fetch, we're teaching it to generate specific types of text or code.
That's a great analogy. And the beauty of reinforcement learning is that the AI can learn from its mistakes and continuously improve its performance.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but I have to admit, it's starting to feel a bit like we're going down a rabbit hole of technical jargon. Can we bring this back to something a bit more practical for our listeners who might not be, AI experts?
Absolutely. Remember, the goal of prompt engineering is to make these powerful tools more accessible and useful for everyone, not just those with, advanced technical degrees.
Okay, that's reassuring. So let's say I'm someone who wants to start experimenting with these techniques, maybe for writing blog posts or generating ideas for a project. Where do I even begin?
That's a great question, and luckily there are a ton of resources available to help people get started with prompt engineering. And one of the best places to begin is with Google's Vertex AI platform.
Vertex AI. I've heard that name thrown around in the AI world, but I'll admit I'm a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Is it only for serious coders and data scientists?
Not at all. Vertex AI is actually surprisingly user-friendly. It offers various tools for building, deploying, and managing AI models, including those LLMs we've been discussing.
Right, okay.
And the best part is that you can choose the level of complexity that suits your needs.
Okay, so Vertex AI isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. There are different entry points depending on your level of expertise.
Exactly. For those who prefer a visual, code-free approach, there's Vertex AI Studio, which is like a playground for experimenting with prompts.
Okay.
You can test different prompts, tweak parameters like temperature, and see the results in real time without writing a single line of code.
That sounds like a great place to start. It's like having a sandbox where I can play around with AI and see what it can do without worrying about breaking anything.
Precisely. And to make things even easier, there are tons of example prompts and notebooks available within Vertex AI Studio to get you started.
So it's like having a set of training wheels to help me get comfortable with these AI tools. But what if I want to go beyond the basics to start using those advanced techniques like array or tuning?
Vertex AI has you covered there too. It provides tools for more advanced users to work with custom datasets, fine-tune models, and even build their own AI applications.
So it's a platform that can grow with me as my prompt engineering skills develop. I love that. But before we jump ahead to building our own AI empires, I'd love to hear more about how these techniques are being used in the real world. Can you give us some concrete examples of how prompt engineering is making a difference across different industries?
Absolutely, and that's actually a perfect segue into our next segment where we'll explore real-world applications of prompt engineering in action. We'll see how it's transforming everything from content creation and marketing to customer service and even scientific research. Get ready for some truly mind-blowing examples.
I'm ready to have my mind blown. Hit me with some real-world examples of how people are using prompt engineering to do amazing things.
Well, one area where we're seeing a huge impact is in content creation. Think writers, bloggers, marketers, anyone who spends their days crafting words.
Okay, so instead of staring at a blank page, I can now turn to an AI for help.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but we're getting close. Imagine using an LLM to generate different headline options for your article,
Okay.
or to draft social media posts based on a longer piece you've written.
So it's like having an AI assistant who can handle those smaller, more repetitive tasks,
Yeah,
freeing up my time and energy to focus on, like, the bigger picture.
exactly. And it goes beyond just generating text. LLMs can also help with research, summarizing lengthy reports, even translating content into multiple languages.
That's a game changer for anyone working in a globalized world. But can AI really be creative?
Yeah.
I mean, can it come up with truly original ideas, or is it just kind of regurgitating stuff it's already seen?
That's the million-dollar question. And the answer is, it's complicated. LLMs can definitely remix and combine existing ideas in novel ways. But whether that constitutes true creativity is still up for debate. What's exciting is that we're starting to see LLMs being used as creative partners, helping humans brainstorm new concepts, explore different writing styles, even co-authoring stories and screenplays.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. It's like having an AI brainstorming buddy who's always overflowing with ideas.
Yeah.
But what about beyond the written word? Can these LLMs create visual art or music too?
Absolutely. There are LLMs specifically trained on massive data sets of images and music, allowing them to generate original visual art, compose music in different styles, even create realistic 3D models. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI.
So I could theoretically give an AI a prompt like create a symphony inspired by the sounds of a rainforest and could actually compose something.
You got it. And the level of sophistication and detail is constantly improving. We're even seeing AI-generated art being sold at auctions and featured in museums.
Okay, I'm officially convinced that prompt engineering is about to revolutionize the creative industries. But I'm also curious about how it's impacting, more data-driven fields like business.
That's a great point. We often think of AI as being all about numbers and logic, but it's also proving incredibly valuable for tasks that require a human touch, like customer service.
So are we talking about AI chatbots that can handle customer inquiries and complaints?
That's one application, but it goes even deeper. Imagine using an LLM to analyze customer feedback,
Uh-huh.
identify trends and patterns, and even personalize marketing messages based on individual customer preferences.
That's taking personalization to a whole new level. No more generic marketing blasts. Each customer gets a message tailored specifically to them.
Exactly. And when it comes to internal business operations, LLMs can be used to automate repetitive tasks like data entry, scheduling meetings, generating reports.
I can see how that would be a huge time saver for businesses, allowing employees to focus on, more strategic work. But wouldn't this level of automation lead to job losses? That's a concern a lot of people have about AI.
It's a valid concern and one that we need to address thoughtfully as AI becomes more integrated into our lives. But I also believe that AI has the potential to create new jobs and opportunities that we haven't even imagined yet.
Okay.
It's about finding ways to work alongside AI to leverage its strengths while also emphasizing the uniquely human skills that AI can't replicate.
Skills like creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. It sounds like the key is to adapt and evolve alongside this technology, not to fear it.
Exactly, and to embrace the possibilities it offers. Think about fields like healthcare, education, and scientific research. We're already seeing LLMs being used to analyze medical images, develop personalized learning plans for students, and even accelerate the pace of scientific discovery.
Wow. The potential impact is truly mind-boggling. We've gone from writing blog posts to revolutionizing healthcare. It seems like there's no limit to what prompt engineering can achieve. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to our listeners who are excited to explore the world of prompt engineering? Where should they start?
That's a great question. First, I'd say don't be intimidated. There are a ton of resources available online, including free courses and tutorials. Experiment with different AI platforms, play around with different prompts and parameters, and see what you can create.
So it's all about learning by doing, embracing that spirit of curiosity and experimentation.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get creative. Prompt engineering is as much an art as it is a science. The more you play with language, the more you'll understand how to coax these AI models into producing truly remarkable results.
This has been an incredible journey. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible with prompt engineering. It's clear that this technology is going to reshape the world as we know it.
I agree. And the most exciting part is that we're still in the early stages of this AI revolution. Who knows what incredible advancements and applications await us in the years to come?
Well, on that note of boundless possibility, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of prompt engineering and generative AI. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep prompting.